According to Sawyer and Wagner, writers for Mass Incarceration, The Whole Pie 2020, the American criminal justice system holds almost 2.3 million people in 1,833 state prisons, 110 federal prisons, 1,772 juvenile correctional facilities, 3,134 local jails, 218 immigration detention facilities, and 80 Indian country jails, as well as in military prisons, civil commitment centers, state psychiatric hospitals, and prisons within the U.S. territory. Today, I will discuss not only what mass incarceration is, but also how the school to prison pipeline plays a role in this demographic. For those who do not know, mass incarceration is a subtle killer, and it is safe to say that incarceration rates are a lot higher than people may realize. According to Knott, the term mass incarceration refers to the unique way in which the U.S. has locked up a vast population in federal and state prisons, as well as local jails. These prisoners are disproportionately Black and Latino, against whom the system is biased at every level. Despite similar rates of drug use, Black people are nearly 4 times as likely to be arrested for marijuana use, and Black males in particular are often given longer sentences for crimes than their white peers. Racial disparities within the justice system not only need to be addressed before we can think of reducing the mass incarceration rates right now. According to Kerga, there are staggering disproportionate rates between Black and Latinx teens compared to their white counterparts. The school to prison pipeline is another way to disparage against whites, Black, and Latino students. Cole defines the school to prison pipeline as the process of criminalizing students through disciplinary policies and practices in schools that then put these students into contact with law enforcement at an earlier age. Journalist Stephen beautifully writes, "This issue can begin as early as preschool. While Black children are 18% of all preschool students, they account for 48% of students receiving multiple suspensions. White children, on the other hand, make up 43% of the preschool population, but are just 26% of students with more than one suspension. In other words, Black children as young as 4 years old, face systematic discrimination compared to their counterparts. Their discipline policies set the stage for years of discipline and establish a culture of failure before Black children even begin kindergarten. Schools are dealing out harsher punishments, not only to Black students, but also to those with disabilities. Schools that have a strong student police interaction often share similar qualities of overcrowded classrooms, underfunding for their schools, and most importantly, underqualified teachers. I myself have attended schools on two ends of the spectrum and would just like to give my personal account as to attest to how the school to prison pipeline may appear to play out for a student currently in it. In my high school, which was predominantly white, I did view certain events that occurred to which students were not, in my opinion, rightfully punished for. There was an incident in which a student did bring a knife to school, and instead of the student being arrested or even suspended right there and then, the weapon was taken away from them and they were allowed to continue the rest of the day with their normal class schedule. However, a year later, I did transfer to another school, which was at the opposite end of the spectrum. In that school, I did witness an incident in which a student who had, I believe it was autism, he was, I don't want to